Hello, it's Amy with Paper Moon Journals, and I have the cutest little journal that I wanted to share with you. It's listed for sale in my Etsy shop, but I'm just in love with it and how it came out. There's the cutest little fairy that has delicate little glittery details on her dress and her wings and her little mushroom cap. And then there's a German Dresden trim on the front, and tiny little flowers and roses, and this crocheted fabric behind. It was part of a placemat. And then on the side, like if this is sitting in your bookcase, you'll know exactly what journal this is. All the little fairies have their wings printed on vellum. And then here's the back, which is so pretty. And here's how the spine with all the pretty stuff poking out. And I like how the bottom looks with everything poking out of there. I'll link in the description box the things that I used and my Amazon affiliate links. And then of course a link to this in the Etsy shop if it's still there. If it's not still there, you can message me about a custom order of something similar, or just look around the shop. I might have something else in there. I have a couple other things I'm listing using a lot of the same papers, but this is the biggest, most elaborate project that I'll have in the shop with this stuff, or at least so far. I used an offcut piece of that crocheted placemat left off from the cover to make a pocket here and a really pretty flower. And then inside the pocket, I have the cutest paper doll holding some flowers. She's printed on cardstock, so she's a nice weight. You could take sweet little notes on the back, or use that to frame a photo that you glued down on one of the other pages or something. And here's a nice illustration of fairies having a tea party. And it's one of those fun images where there's just something tiny to see in every little corner of the picture. And then here's a cute little house-shaped tag with another little fairy wearing a party hat and holding a little wand. And then there's some German trim, that Dresden trim there. Here's some embossed paper and a vintage envelope with a bunch of ephemera in it. Some small little pockets and then a little tag. I love this little piece here. The leader of the butterflies, it says, with the cutest little winged butterfly fairy. A little flag, and then some vintage document here. You could write on the back or use that, and if you wanted to add some journaling spreads or collages to the journal. And then there's this invitation to a fairy tea party. This is very sweet. And another piece of vintage document there. And then this is from an old 1800 scrapbook that I had this newspaper cut out that I don't know what the age of it was, but it had this word game puzzle that I thought was fun. And then a nice botanical image here. You could write on the back. And all of these was just the front pocket. I had so much fun with this, I made a much smaller single signature for myself to use, using some similar things. And then on this front page, I did some collaging here. There's the tags, the buttons. I added a little gold crown to the fairy there. And a button there, and some pom-pom trim here. And embroidered flower, lace. A pretty little butterfly, and then there's a notepad under here. A fairy butterfly. You could put a photo or a favorite sentiment, phrase, or Bible quote or something there. Lots of room for writing. This one I think has 80 or 88 pages. I'll have it in the description. It measures 9 by 6. I know I spent at least $50 or $60 on the things that went in here, the digital kits, and this is for my own digital kit, the 4 pages of an 1800 scrapbook. I printed that on cardstock, and this tag here. But yeah, I spent a lot of money on making this as cute as I could, with all the pom-poms and the lace and the flowers. I spared no expense. I love this little image here with the tiny little bunnies. It's layered up in collage there. And just the way this lace and the pom-pom and everything looks layered, peeking out. And then this pocket I made out of embossed paper and then decorated it with lace flowers and this tiny little fairy layered up on some fussy cut roses. And then there's a paper doll of this gentleman, this cute little young man, and it's printed on card. It's nice and sturdy with his mushroom. And then this house-shaped tag decorated with some lace and more of that Dresden trim. And then some beautiful vintage ephemera. And these layered tags printed on heavyweight paper, but a little bit lighter than the card. And lace, embroidered flowers, this cute little teacup fairy, and the images here. I think I bought $20 worth of, at least $20 worth of digitals from Miles Beyond the Moon, and this is one of those. This is part of that. I think it was 4 kits from them. And then, you know, 3 or 4 kits at least that I used from Pixie Dust Files. And all of the lace and pom-pom and everything. So this is more ephemera from that digital kit of mine that I mentioned with the scrapbooking. Here, let me show you really quickly. I have some nearby. Again, I was gonna make another one of these, so I had it printed out. So here's the first one, and these were the most vivid of all the images that I was able to get. And I like how I just scanned in the whole page. So sometimes I use it just as a whole page like this, or this time I fussy cut everything out, and then I saved all of the offcut sections that are that lovely color and used those in collages. And here's another one where it has all of these beautiful images, and that one you just saw. So some nice lady collected all of these things into her scrapbook and pasted them down in this way that she thought was pretty to make her page spreads. Isn't that neat? And so I just cut each one of the tiny little things back out again. So for this, I would make it either look torn or missing something instead of having that angular shape missing. Or when I glued it down, I would maybe glue something over that so you couldn't see it's missing. Another trick is to just crop that shorter and then round all the corners. No one would know anything was missing. So where things have been layered up, it didn't stop me from being able to use it. These images are really sweet. They were older and more aged with color, you know, than I would have liked, but they're so sweet. I wanted to include them. And these little shoe images here. And then that's it. It's 4 pages out of this scrapbook from the 1800s. And then I was going to load, scan in and load more pages. I'm still working on trying to get the coloring. I'd like if I can get the coloring, you know, as good as these were, but these were so much darker to begin with. And then with the aging, they just didn't fare as well as these ones did. But I work on them to try to get the color as good as I can possibly get it before scanning them in. But I like using those in my projects, and they look cute with a lot of different things: Valentine's, fairies, botanical, birds. I layered up more lace here, and speaking of birds, there's cute little birds on the top of that page. Now this is Fairy Tale Flowers kit, and then the teacup fairy kit. I love how this page looks. That's actually a tuck spot there. I wanted to tuck something up under there. And there's a lot of this Dresden trim. I think it was $10 or $12 worth of this trim used in different places. It's not, it's a little bit pricey, but it's so beautiful. And I kind of have it figured out by how much it is by the inch, and then just somewhat keep track of, wow, I used 3 feet of this trim maybe. And then, you know, that would be $12. And then here's more. This is the kit I'm working on now, which another one of the pages, she had the tiniest little prayer cards that that had been hand cut out and then have aged and like crackled around the little edges on some of them. Again, some of the paper was fared better over time than other paper. Like these papers, they looked great. And then this one, if you can look at it closely, there's tiny little aged cracks in the image, where the paper underneath the image is showing through. And yeah, so I started scanning those in. I'm using it myself, of course, but I haven't gotten that ready for the Etsy shop. And here's one of those images from that kit that just look great and everything. I think that would be cute on a Valentine too. The little angels, maybe even Christmas stuff, because it's got little angels and with the red bows. I find ways to mix stuff together that you might not think was for that occasion. For sure. Yeah, see, these are definitely, you probably recognize those now from that scrapbooking page. Here's more of that tiny from another page from the book. I have I have the whole book, and there were about 16 pages decorated before the person stopped, and then the rest of the book is just gorgeous aged papers. I love this paper doll here. I made her actually in mind of putting her on the cover, but it just didn't feel right. But she's got these really layered up wings here, and it's so cute. And I used embroidered trim and everything to decorate her. And then she's on top of that pocket there with more of that, again, ephemera from my kit. This is from the Pixie Dust Essentials, Ruby and Pearl XO. It was Antique French Documents is what I've been using. I've been calling it Vintage Papers, but I looked up the file name. It's her Antique French Documents. And then there's this, which is Amity Bloom, one of her envelope ephemera kits, probably from a few years back. I love all of her stuff. And I love how great her stuff looks with the pixie dust stuff and my stuff. That's great. That's how the digitals that are for sale in my shop are all from things I created for my own use. And then eventually, a year or two later, I get around to listing them available to others. And I have some butterflies and lace, and then Believe You Can, and you're halfway there. You might be more than halfway there with the believing, depending on what it is. So here I have this envelope from the other side. It's a tuck spot, but I use this really sweet paper clip, a floppy lace bunny ear tie on top to just keep things in there. And then some of my ephemera and these nice collage tags that were pixie dust. I'm not sure which kit. And then this is from the Pixie Dust Essentials, which are great and look nice. I just stopped using them on a few projects to keep variation in my things. I really liked the way this tiny little blue pom-pom trim looks layered up on this white lace. And again, if you look back and forward at all the layers of stuff, it's so nice. I'm just going to clip these together for now so I can show you the flip on the other side. This envelope flips out and has a bunch of ephemera in there. Again, from that Pixie Dust Essentials. Here's that ephemera I was showing you from mine where the corner had been overlapped, and I just made it look like it had been torn off instead. But I'll do a variety of things. Again, I could have just cropped it just above that as well. Still perfectly usable, or if I glued it down, just glue something over that corner. I think it looks nice with the corner torn like that, with a nice neat tear. And then here's one of those nice botanical images that I folded up to fit in the envelope, stationery. This is Amity Bloom envelope, French collage or something collaged envelopes. It's her oldest set of these, and I use them so much. I really should go back and get a couple of her newer, I know she has some newer collaged envelope kits, but I added more of that gold Dresden trim, part of that, like at least 2 feet worth of it I put in here. And then some of this gorgeous pink lace. I just love this color of pink, and it really pops. This kind of hot pink or neon pink just really pops nicely with all these muted pastels. And I like the way the collage came out in the corner of this page. The little fairy in her teacup there, and I cut off the wings she had originally came with and added little vellum ones. And then here's another little paper doll. I added cute little vellum wings too, and this pom-pom trim. It just looks cute from either side with the pink trim there and the pom-pom down here. I made a similar one for myself, and I'm glad I did, because I'm just falling in love with this all over again, showing it to you guys. I really think these pages are just so beautiful. Like if you had that paper doll from one of the pockets and you wanted to use it to frame in a quote, and then from one of the other, you could layer up a couple scraps. And there's room in here to add your own page spreads with the little paper dolls and the ephemera and things that I added. There's still room for you to have plenty of journal decorating fun, and hopefully you feel really inspired with the pages that do have more decoration. And with this pretty flowered trim. Thank you, as always, to everybody who's been buying from my Etsy shop. Thanks to all of you folks that these are as pretty as they are, because it's allowed me to buy these new hot pink or these neon pink trims and this blue lace, this floral trim. You know, all of these things were things I got new thanks to, to people buying at my shop, which I really appreciate. And of course, my viewers who are sometimes also buy from my shop, but the comments and people liking and commenting on my videos, that's just as exciting to me as a sale from my Etsy shop. Both of those things make my day. So here we are between the 2 signatures, and I've decorated that with a little bit of lace. And then I created a pocket with that piece of ephemera from my kit. And I just love how those colors work in so perfectly with this tattered pink kit from Pixie Dust Files. When I got them out to play with them, I was so excited. I hadn't used them. I scanned them in about a year ago. They've been available in my shop at least for a year. And I was like, wait, what about those scrapbook digitals of mine? I haven't used those in a while. So I went and I found the file and printed them out, and we'll be seeing a lot more of them because I just forgot how cute they were. Got so carried away. I love using everyone else's and then, adding mine for a little bit of my spice. And again, this is from my kit. It's kind of surprising how much of the ephemera in here is really just from that one 4-page kit that I showed you. So this can be sealed up, and you can add more ephemera, notes, pictures, little scraps of things and little pieces of receipts or memories, or you can just use it as a writing spot, opening it up and then folding it back up into the pocket. And then these more of those tiny little pieces. Just one page had so many of these tiny, and this is the actual size. I didn't shrink them down or anything. They're teeny tiny little prayer cards. And here's a little label, and then another label I folded up to fit into this tiny little pocket. There. Yeah, that kit's coming soon. It'll be, however many pages more out of that scrapbook, or maybe I'll call it prayer cards or something. I might go look to see what other people have something for sale and see how they described it, so I can find what people would be looking for. Here's another one of that fairy with little vellum wings. And then just regular little butterflies decorating the corners of some of the lined pages. And I really like how these little dolls work so nice with those framed areas. I think are just begging for a quote or something. There's more of that pretty blue pom-pom trim, this time on top of some really wide blue lace. And again, some more of that ephemera from that scrapbooking, or that antique scrapbook pages from my digital kit. And then a sweet little paper doll where I added some wings to that. I think she had her own wings that got swapped out for vellum wings. There's another butterfly, flowers, layered collage. I added the little fairy to this page of flowers that I thought was so pretty, and then with this vivid purple. And I just love this vintage writing paper for school children to learn how to write. It was for learning cursive, if I remember correctly, and it was all about keeping, within the lines, and that the middle of your letter was on that pink line. Having neat penmanship was really important when I was in school. I don't know if that's true anymore. They might have given up on that. This fairy's so cute. I just love her dress and her little curly hair, and the wings that she got paired with just suit her so well. There's a tab, there's some paper tabs and lace tabs. I've been loving that tab punch, so I can just punch out perfectly cut tabs that coordinate with my projects. It's on my Amazon tools list. There's another fairy here. This teapot piece of ephemera I used as a tuck spot. And there's a little piece of tea party fairy ephemera and essentials ephemera. This was essentials as well, and then this was from my kit. Just that one is the only one of mine I used in here, I think. Again, more from my kit here. Those roses. You wouldn't think those 4 pages of ephemera would go so far, but it's really decorated this book well. And these are 2 from that new kit that I was working on. These ones I just cut out with postage stamp shaped scissors, so they look cute as the tiny little prayer card or as little faux postage stamps. I just layered up, and this was that tag top punch, that 3-way tag top punch. It's on my tools list. I've been loving that this year. I like how this page came out with the lace at the top, the embossed paper here with the lace, the flowers, and then this trim was, something was just tied up in it that I bought, came with this trim, and that definitely was a craft supply. I think it was some washcloths or something like that came tied with that. There's this pretty vintage lace. And this is one of my favorite fairies with her orange hair and her pink dress. And her cute little wings, again, I think match her so well. And she frames that. It's just begging for a nice quote or a positive sentiment or something there, a happy memory. There's more pom-pom trim. This just doesn't cheer you up and make your day. I don't know what would. I like to just get them out and look at them. They really cheer me up. When I finish them, sometimes I'll keep them on the nightstand so that when I wake up the next morning, I won't have to get dressed to go out and look at it. I can just pick it up and look at it when I wake up. Isn't that funny? Yeah, this little fairy again, but this time she has different wings. And I just stapled this down with that sweet little deer on there. More crocheted lace. Again, I used yards of lace in here. And another just sweet little fairy with her fun costume and her curly red hair and her pretty vellum wings. Here it says a recipe for a fairy tea. I made into a tuck spot on this page here. It's another one of those house-shaped tags that I love, decorated with more of that Dresden trim and some pixie dust essentials there. I think this was from the Pink Junk Journal kit, some of the ephemera that came with that. It's the little things, that's very true. It's just so sweet with that swan and the mushrooms and the doily. So pretty. And then this piece here with the mushrooms and all the flora and fauna. A feast for the eyes. And a teapot. And this one has all the pom-poms, the lace, the butterfly. And then on this side, I made a mini, like a little mini journal. And it attaches with Velcro into the book so it can be taken out. And then I used another piece of that crocheted placemat that I used on the cover. I used a piece of that and some vintage lace on the bottom. There's some collaged paper there and a little Velcro closure. And again, here's more of that ephemera from the kit that I started working on. I'm still working on the color to see if, if I can get it as good as I can. But those teeny tiny little prayer cards, again, some I cut out in the shape that she had cut them out. And then other ones I used my little stamp edge scissors. Those should be on my supply list too. If they're not, let me know and I'll go back and I'll add them to that Amazon list. I've collected a lot of tools over the years I've been making these, and I think I've put everything on there, but it could be missing something. I like this, never lose your sense of wonder, and that adorable little fairy. And again, this could be glued shut and you could keep tiny little ephemera in there, or it's also a writing spot as it is. And it looks cute sticking out of that pocket. It's a little portable notebook. You could just take in your purse to fill up with notes and ideas and then put it back in the book. And then I just put my fingers on the Velcro to line it up. This is the inside of the back cover here. I have another lace pocket with lace layered up and a button. And then some of that ephemera from that antique scrapbook from my digital kit in my shop. This gorgeous tag. I did not cut her wings off and change them out for vellum. They're just such a pretty color and they really suited her outfit. So and then more of that Dresden trim, and then silk ribbon across the top. I just restocked on the silk ribbon again as a thank you to everybody from buying from the Etsy shop. I was able to do that. And this postcard, it's from an Amity Bloom kit. And then I thought these two, they just look so nice together, like brother and sister. Layered tags that I made, again using that tag top punch and some craft colored scrapbooking paper. And then from that antique French documents from Ruby and Pearl. Some of that looks good in these. And that's it. That's the whole thing. I really love it. I hope you love it. It's in my Etsy shop already. And like I said, I'll link up everything below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel or this video with anyone else you think might enjoy the content. I would sure appreciate it. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.